Hello, hello, and welcome to Bard's Gaming Corner. Welcome to another episode of Let's Play Pillars of Eternity
I shall.
1. As you can see, we're still in Caed Nua, and we're ready to explore the rest of the world. And where shall we go? I think we're gonna go to Mudmere Bridge first. Can we go there? Oh no, we have to go through Black Meadow. Bones feel as hard as stone and yet surprisingly light. We have to go south. I'm not at our strongest right now, but let's see what we can do. Horse roll. Plates of devotion, and you're gonna knock him down. What are you gonna do? Yeah, let's first try to. Arcane Assault. Is there anything else we can do?
Okay.
Now we almost got it. We're getting better at this.
I shall.
And the exit. May need some rest in a minute.
Braved out the
Easy. You can also get some stronghold stuff. The kingdom part of this game is quite easy. You can build something. Oh yeah. Growing bright will allow you to rest there. Other upgrades can unlock resting bonuses once finishes in 20 hours. So in 20 hours we can rest in, at Caed Nua.
braved out.
Yeah, I'm not gonna waste any spells or skills from these guys. Anything else here? No. Oh. What the hell is that? A troll!
Braved out.
We're gonna have to put our best effort in for this one. Let's see. Flames, no. Minor missiles. So the magic missiles of this game. Fully rated. We have any barbs of condemnation? Punishes a target for the sins, decreasing their deflection, fortitude, reflex, and will. Okay, let's see what that.
Navarro beyond seek.
There, we use a skill yet.
I.
Undead, and we
Brave.
These little guys don't do much damage, but at least the troll is they keep the troll from attacking my other character. And then it's dead. And a little bit of exterior. And
Indeed.
yeah, he liked the scouts. The troll.
Brave thou
Oh. Yeah, this area you don't have to visit to finish the main quest. And looters can be bought at find in arm's ways. Curse my luck! The woman mutters, kicking her foot into the ground and upturning a clod of soil. As you approach, her ears twitch and she turns to greet you. "Hail, traveler," she says with a half-hearted hand wave. "The bridge to Defiance Bay is out. If that's where you're headed, you'll need to find another route." "What destroyed the bridge?" "The river has been rising on account of all the storms. Here, where the river narrows, the flooding did the most damage." The Orlan woman folds her arms, scowl overtaking her face. "Guess they don't make things to last around here, do they?" One of the stone columns collapsed in a flash flood, taking the whole middle section of the bridge out to sea. Madmer Bridge was the most direct route from Gilded Vale to Defiance Bay. Merchants and travelers now have to find boat passage or add days of extra travel to loop around the bay. So I started a ferry service thinking I'd earn some coin and help others cross over to the bay. Paragon shakes her head, her ears twitching as he speaks. "And that was a bigger mistake than that time I allowed a cipher to caught me." "Mistake? How so?" "I had been attempting to turn a quick copper, but..." She bites her lip, her face turning flushed with anger. "Just my luck, the blasted currents threw my ferry into the rocks, dashed it and my profits to pieces. Making matters worse, when I went to prowl the shore to salvage whatever shipping craze didn't sink, a pair of looters attacked me." She stamps her foot into the ground. "Damn brigands had the nerve to attack. I managed to avoid harm, but now they have stolen by force all that is left of my fortune." She eyes you for a long second, her hand cupping her chin. "You know, you look like you'd fare better against those looters than little old me. Could I enlist your help?" "I will take a look." Paragon smiles wide, her ears perking up. "Thank you. I'm sure those thugs have made a mess of my stock, but maybe there's something there to be saved. How do I get to Defiance Bay?" "With the bridges destroyed, the best course of action would be following the river north. You'll be able to cross farther upstream, but you've got a long walk ahead of you." Oh yeah, at least another side quest. Oh yeah. In this regard, Pillars is a little bit like the first Baldur's Gate. A lot of filler. A lot of the areas are a little bit filler.
Brave thou
Here. Camping supplies. Yeah, maybe wise to rest. And all my characters are fine and dead. Let's find those looters. Maybe here? Smedley. Oh, Nielsen. Oh yes, those are backers for the game. So. Not, oh.
Looks like we'll be taking the long way to Defiance Bay.
Yeah, like I said in the first episode, this game was partially paid by Kickstarter investments, and those that put in some money were awarded a name in the game, a character in the game.
Crave Southview.
He's here. Where is? Hey there. He's gonna click him. I'm not gonna waste spells. Use easy. Oh, some money.
Of course.
Quick save again. Looter. Gathered around the soggy timbers of a ship wreckage, men and women pick through the driftwood, snatching muddy silverware, moldy clothes, chipped pottery, and anything they can spot amongst the detritus. All eyes turn to you as you approach. The group trade nervous stares at you until at last a woman in muddy clothes steps forward and speaks. "Where are Brettel and Terran?" she asked. "They were just up along that path and we heard fighting." Oh, yeah, that's where those two idiots we had to kill. Her eyes narrow and a hand moves toward the knife on her belt as she anticipates your reply. "They attacked us. It was a matter of self-defense." "Do you kill them?" You see Hanwen's eyes tear up before she buries her face in her hands. Men and women around her take a step back, eyeing you cautiously. Hanwen looks up, wiping her eyes. "You speak of self-defense. Well, we are defending ourselves from this storm." Voice rises and her face grows flush with emotion. The floods took her entire farm. We have nothing left. Nothing. No food, no roof, and now I don't even have my cousins. She throws up her hands in despair. "We don't want to fight you. We've lost enough already." I came here investigating some missing cargo. We mistook your cousins for looters." She blinks in disbelief. "Looting? But this is a wreck. What value does it have?" Men and women all turn to her, their faces frightened and worried. "Please, we need these supplies dearly. The storm took everything from us. It is not our desire to steal, but we are destitute. Should we let these wares just sink to the river bottom?" Regardless of your need, you are still stealing from Paragons. "Perhaps you could tell the merchant you find nothing beyond bits of driftwood. From our point of view, it will be as if the river washed it all away. Besides, how much copper will he really make by selling these rotting clothes and soiled wares?" Well, funny thing is, in this game, a paladin can be neutral. So, I will see what I can do. "Thank you." He sighs, wiping sweat from her brow. "You are the first turn of good fortune to come our way in a very long time." She snaps her fingers at one of her comrades and points to a pile of supplies drying in the sun. "We don't have much, but take this as a token of our thanks." Some experience. And did we get anything yet? A hermit's hat. Okay, let's see what that is. A hermit's hat. Immunity, confused of intellect plus 2. What's this? Oh, he uses intellect, so the best thing. Will. Well, he already has a high resolve, so. Maybe it's better to give this to Elf of Adair. So at least he, because he's our tank, you don't want your tank to be confused. Nothing here. Let's return to Paragant. Yes, it's here, I think. Oh yeah, I picked through the wreckage, but I found nothing salvageable. Must have washed away. I figured just as much. Well, thank you for your assistance. I suppose I need to figure out how I'll recover my investment. These are footsteps kicking NC out alongside. Thanks for trying. If you find yourself in Defiance Bay, search out my shop. I'll need all the customers I can get. Well, we'll be doing that. And at least some extra XP. Okay. I think something here. No, not much. I think we go here. Oh, here. Some whatchamacallit. Edmund's words. And that is about it. So we're going to leave. Let me see. Here. No. Wood and plains. It will take 1 day, 22 hours to complete your journey from our bridge to Wood and Plains. Yes, okay. Map discovered. Wood and Plains. Right hollow restoration construction complete. Attack was imminent, but your patrol staved off the enemy. Okay, what's that? Status. Let's explore. Oh, hey. If I remember correctly, there is another character here. Recruit. Oh yeah.
Hush, Itumak. We'll just wait a little longer.
A dwarven woman dressed in skins and hides leans against the road marker. Her face is turned down, her eyes darkened by a thick stripe of face paint. She's sharpening a bone arrowhead with a scrimshaw-handled knife. Her attention, however, is focused on a bare figurine between her feet. A large, white-furred fox stands at her heels, looks up at your approach.
Easy, Itumak. It's not him.
Who are you waiting for?
Short version? I'm looking for a very, very old friend. I'm not sure what skin he's wearing now, but I'll know him when I see him.
Your friend is supposed to meet you here?
That's what I heard. Of course, the man who told me so was carrying a staff he claimed was made from dragon bone, but I know whitewood when I see it. That should have been my first clue, but I had to try something.
Back up, what does this stranger have to do with your friend?
The long version. Here we go. I'm from an island to the far south called Nasitak. I came here looking for a village elder, a man we knew as Persok. I'm a hunter back home, so tracking someone wouldn't normally be a problem. But Persoc's trail is cold, to say the least.
Why can't you find him? There can't be that many of your people in the Deerwood. He died when I was still a young girl. Forgot to mention that part, did I? Looking for his latest reincarnation, which could be anyone. How long have you been looking for Persoc? Her painted brows lower and her compact, muscular frame sags for just an instant. 5 years. So you have been searching 5 years for a stranger you barely remember. Who could be anyone now?
That about sums it up.
And it must be an important duty.
So I keep reminding myself. Still, it would be nice if important duties came with clearer instructions.
How does that statuette figure into it? She adjusts the figurine on her trousers and raises it in her small, flat palm. It's carved in the shape of a bear, smooth and round. Polished adra is worn to a dull mat along its arched back and ovoid haunches. A soft glow emanates from within.
Cute, isn't it? It belonged to Persoc. Before he returned to the wheel, he left a splinter of his soul in it. Something to help us find him later.
As he holds it out to you, you feel wisps of sensation. Not quite memories, but traces of someone.
When I left Nasitak, it was completely dark inside. But as I've gotten closer to Persoc, it's glowed steadily brighter. Since I've reached the Deerwood, however, it's gotten hard to read. Some days it flickers and goes dark. Others it shines nice and bright. For a few hours. But most of the time, it looks just like this.
I could take a look at it.
I've heard that one before. Whole reason I'm standing here is because some so-called Watcher from Forkvale told me he could take a look. For a few golden dukes, of course. I was on my way out of the Balmarsh when I heard talk of a traveling mystic who could supposedly see souls. I knew it was a long shot, but what did I have to lose? I went to see this fellow and gave him the Audra figurine. He made a big show of moaning and rolling his eyes, and after I'd given him 5 golden dukes to lift the shroud, he told me to seek the crossroads in the field between the wolf's lair and the twining trees.
Go, what's the wolf's lair? Defiance Bay, locals call the current Duke Wolfgrin. Sounds like he'd be fun to drink with. Is twining trees a real place? He meant Twin Elms. I haven't been there yet, but I hear they have some especially memorable trees. Go on.
He thought he was being vague, but I know the area well enough to recognize that he meant this place, right between Defiance Bay and Twin Elms. I had a bad taste in my mouth, but my coin was spent and I'd already left an arrow in his knapsack as a friendly warning. Told him I'd come back and leave him with another if it turned out he was giving me the runaround. I've been here a week now. Guess he had the last laugh after all.
May I see the figurine?
Why?
I'm a real watcher.
You expect me to believe that? After the story I just told you?
You've got nothing to lose by letting me try.
Fine. But if you try to run, just remember that my arrows are faster.
She hands you the figurine, her chapped knuckles grazing your hand. She watches you examine it, wary but curious. You raise the Adra bear, turning it in the light. As your eyes catch a tiny glinting scratch, the scenery around you melts away. You're standing on a cliff overlooking the water, seeing through eyes that aren't your own. You catch the musk of beads amidst the fresh scent of vegetation, and your heart beats a little faster. You have to watch your step up here. You look down just long enough to see the sharp, pale cliffs rub into the water hundreds of feet below. Turn the figurine. I've got it. He's standing on a cliff.
What are you talking about? What just happened?
I told you, I'm a watcher. She blinks at you a few times, calculating. If you'd seen the way he stares at dead things, you'd know he's serious.
You realize I've got no coin to give you, even if I did believe you.
Come with me. I've got other business in the area, and we can look for Persoc on the way.
If this is your idea of a joke, you may be stuck with me for a while. Lead the way.
Alright. Travel to the cliffs you saw in the vision. Yeah, that's another part. And
Ready, Watcher.
this is a ranger. Let's see her equipment. He has a silk hunting bow and like me. Alright, and he has a companion. Itumak, which is quite handy in a fight. So now we have about 3 melee characters. We'll be exploring this this map on a later date more. Okay. It's time to go to Defiance Bay, Wool Slayer, Edelwan Bridge. Yeah, we are at the bridge. TV. Something here. Oh, no. And go here. Here. Game is now about, I think, 6 years old. Came out in 2015. The graphics are still quite good. But I think in Pillars of Eternity 2, graphics are more colorful.
How do you do?
What can I do for you? What can you tell me about Defiance Bay? Sorry, but I don't have time right now. But it sounds like that Dozens crackpot Rowan is stirring up trouble again. Jerks his head at the gate. We'd be all too happy to give you a rundown of the city. Liberally flavored with Dozens propaganda, of course. I'm looking for the Temple of Wodica. Scratches his beard. Not sure why you want to go there, he shrugs. It's in the first fires if you really want to see it. Seem to be an edge. What's the problem? Thousands of them, truth be told. We've got refugees coming in from all parts, under some misguided notions that things are actually better here, that the legacy somehow passes over. So they show up with no prospects and little money, just end up making a worse mess of things. No offense. Alright, goodbye. And good luck to you. No. Never far from you. Yeah, it's a lot like Baldur's Gate in respect that you can visit one area at a time. And now we go to Copper Lane.
Defiance Bay. The city at the heart of the Deerwoods Revolution now seems on the brink of another. Refugees line the streets, homeless and hungry, displaced by White One's legacy, hoping for relief within the city walls, and finding none. Dissidents congregate to protest and to heckle, calling for an end to animancy and the ouster of their duke. The city's militiamen cast fearful looks as they patrol the streets, their hands trembling at the hilts of their weapons. The capital of a country that had not long ago incinerated a god now appears to be a spark away from sharing the deity's fate.
Okay. It's a bit dark. Alright. Bart, Brackenbury, Catacombs, First Fires, Scrivener's Dormitory, Undala's Home, Phoenix House, Marketplace, Atmouth's Den, Expedition Hall, Goose and Fox, and the Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Well, plenty to explore. Yeah, well, while this game is one of my favorites of the last couple of years,
Defiance Bay. I miss Adir already.
yes, one of my favorite isometric games. It lacks a sense of humor. In Pillars of Eternity 2, there's the writing is better in that respect. That must be that.
Welcome.
Rowan's arms are crossed and his mouth is set in a grim frown as he watches the gathered protesters. He looks ready for a fight. He sizes you up. New in town, eh? You've picked an interesting time to visit Defiance Bay. All these refugees fleeing the frontier and finding the legacies no better here. It's the Animances. Migrants scorch them and they nest in the city like rats. You mark my words though, as dozens are gonna put a stop to it. Tell me about the dozens. Taps his chest. We're an organization of interested citizens who want to free Defiance Bay from the dangerous influence of Animancers and the tyranny of the aristocrats who support them. We also consider ourselves a militia of sorts, seeing as the Crucible Knights are little more than a flock of preening nobles in training these days. Just like a militia, the dozens, except for the training, and the discipline, and the code of honor. His eyes gleam, and we're always looking to expand. The more people see things our way, the better for the state of the country. If you have an interest in hearing more, stop by Atmos Den sometime, the Expedition Hall. A lot of free thinkers in there. Can't set straight all the nonsense the nobles and the Animancers want you to believe. Might even be some paid work there from motivated types. What are you doing here? Gestures at the crowd, which buzzes with angry chatter, trying to get folk to see reasons. We're in the midst of a crisis, and instead of purging the nefarious forces from our city, the Duke is granting Animancers dangerous liberties. What do you know about Animancer? It's a study in manipulation of essence, which any sane person tell you is the purview of the gods. The Dirans at least had the sense to outlaw it, which is the only thing you can say about them. Not like magic, chanting, or the soul readings those ciphers do. It's been around since ancient and Wyvern times, which is why you'll see Animancers tinkering with old and Wyvern artifacts. Kana raises a fist to cuff discreetly into it. Half-truths, all, but he's an enthusiastic performer, I'll give him that. He shakes his head. Trouble is, the Animancers got no idea what half those artifacts should actually do. Not that they'll admit it. Our emphatic friend is correct about one thing at least. I'd like to know more about Defiance Bay. This is the capital of Free Palatinate of the Deerwood. We started out as the capital of an Idaran colony, but we booted the Flaccid Scepter from these lands 150 years ago. These days we're a major port receiving trade and visitors from all over the world, but we, some of us anyway, strive to hold on to the pioneering spirit that earned us our freedom a century and a half ago. The city is divided into 5 districts: Copper Lane, First Fires, Undra's Gift, Brackenbury and Heritage Hill. He ticks each off on a calloused finger. Tell me about Copper Lane. This here is Copper Lane. He taps a scuffed boot on the cobblestones. It's primarily a market district, but you've also got the Expedition Hall directly north of here, where you can join treks into the wild. That's also where my fellow dozens, Mardas, and I tend to meet up with other concerned citizens. Points to a long dome building west and north of your position. And that's the Hall of Revealed Mysteries. Eerie place, you ask me, but we've got the biggest library in the Deerwood. And alas, eerie indeed. It might be less so if more kith stepped inside. Perhaps we ought to visit Ignacio and see just what mysteries are revealed. Tell me about Brackenbury. A noise of disgust rattles in his throat. The nobility that didn't sail back to Adir stayed there. Most of the families there trace their lineage back to old imperial times. Other than a lot of has-been nobility, you've got Hadred House, where Lady Webb and her spies operate, and Brackenbury Sanitarium, the main suspect of animancy in the city. Spits and cobblestone. Tell me about the first fires. That's where the revolution started, hence the name. These days it's overrun with politicians and ponderers, but we'll take it back someday. That's where you find the Ducal Palace, the Valiant Embassy, and Crucible Keep. Shakes his head. Crucible Knights were the original freedom fighters in Defiance Bay, but now they're just strutting peacocks with their eyes on fancy titles and their heads up their asses. There's an old temple of Boudica there too. We keep it real nice for her. He winks. Oh, that's nice to know, because we have to visit a temple of Boudica. Tell me about Ondra's gift. Got the name before it was a wetland that was drained back in the Imperial days. Now it's a seedy district populated by sailors, common folk, and more than a few thugs. But it's a fun place too, if you know where to look. Winks and elbows you. Look for a place called the Salty Mast when you're there. Other than that, it's mostly warehouses and abandoned homes. Tell me about Heritage Hills. He shivers. It used to be one of the more prestigious districts in the city. Heroes of the Revolution claim plots up there, next to an ancient and grieving tower. And the city's cemetery. Had the best views in Defiance Bay. Attracts richer tides these days. A lot of animancy patrons. He spits. He glances at the crowd and lowers his voice. You wouldn't have heard, but something happened over there a couple of months ago. The authorities sealed it off, and they're keeping their mouths shut, but mark my words, animancy's to blame. Never mind, let's talk about something else. Yeah, that's about it. And where shall we go first? Oh, do some folks. Let's start with the inn. Alright. Any interesting characters? Bishop.
Good day, stranger.
The man behind the bar is nearly the size of an animal. A handle protrudes from his back, and his face is set in a stoic frown. He gives you a small nod. Here for a drink? There's a tiny pewter cup in front of him. He turns it in one broad hand, but doesn't drink it. Could I get a room? Show you what I got. Don't need a room just yet.
Hail and well met.
Tell me about yourself. Name's Bishop. Used to be a scholar of Barath. Now I run the Goose and Fox and keep the regulars in line. Shifts and you see a warhammer strapped to his back. What more is there to tell? Where do you go from religion to taverns? The journey isn't as long as you think. I started with Hollowborn and with this. Takes a black bottle from under the bar and fills the cubic cup. Was my sister's son. Takes a drink. Beginning of Waitwin's legacy, he was one of the first. I never expected there would be so many after him. The tragedy is part of the cycle, but it's followed by rebirth. Yet every year more parents were grieving for their hollowborn children, and the gods were silent. So you lost your faith? He leans forward, crossing his arms on the bar. Barath promises rebirth, but the only cycle I found was this one. That's the bar. Have a drink, have another, and have another until I couldn't remember until how I got home. Wake up, come back. I finally woke up one day to see my family had packed up and left. For all I know, they'd left days before and I just hadn't noticed. But they were gone. So I came here. Clean up since then. But I've found my answers. This is the cup back. Just stop asking questions. This is a lively place. It was founded in the early days of their wooden independence by a traveling scholar named Errol of Levi. He wanted a place where kids of all backgrounds could gather and hash out the issues facing their new country. Didn't take long for the place to fill up. Brackenbury aristocrats argued with dock workers from the gift, while soldiers wrangled with politicians. Their woodens have never been known to turn down an argument. Takes a sip from the tiny cup. Excuse me. What happened next? Soon Kith were coming from the farm and settlements too. This place got even more popular with the Valiant sailors than the Salty Mast, and that was the problem. Ranges cup. No matter what people say about fair-mindedness and civil debate, there's only so much people will tolerate. Yeah, true that. Errol found himself on the wrong side of an argument with the wrong Thane. When he disappeared a few days later, some said it was the work of that Thane. He shrugged, spreading his hand over the bar as he surveys the room, but Errol knew which way the wind was blowing. He asked me, he skipped down, get out somewhere, hoping for rational minds to prevail in Defiance Bay. Cracks a wry grin. If only he could see it now. Goodbye. Miserable bastards. Kenra. A woman sits by herself, spinning something on the table in front of her and watching it with furious intensity. It's about the size of a coin and it wobbles over a crack in the wood with a metallic rattle. She snatches it up with one hand and slaps a half-empty cup down on the table with the other. This is not a good time. You look like you could use another drink. I'll get there. She takes a long drink from a glass, just trying to calm down. I'm trying to talk myself out of something foolish. Something foolish? She says nothing for a few moments, as if hoping you'll leave. Last, Kanra looks at you and lamplight falls across her face. A purpling bruise is blossoming along her cheekbone. There's something I need to give to my fiancé, Pernisk. I remember seeing it Pernisk's home. Only he doesn't seem to go anywhere without his new friends, and they're not exactly pleasant company. Who hit you? She shakes her head. I know how this looks, but you don't understand. It's not like Pernisk. It's these new friends of his. They've brought out the worst in him. Tell me about these new friends. They come into her house with their dead eyes and their black teeth. I'm not a fool, I know what it means. Pernisk makes me leave when they show up, but it's obvious what they come to do. Last time they came, I told them to get out. Let them have their fun somewhere in the gift, but not under my roof. She scowls and then winches, her fingertips gently probing her bruise. Svev changes you, I guess. The Pernisk I knew wouldn't have squashed the spider. I never thought he'd... She trails off, still feeling the swollen, discolored flesh. Survive. Ah. I don't really know. Seemed better than believing he's always been this way. Maybe I could talk to him. Her hand rests on the table and she clenches it into a white-knuckled fist. There's nothing more to say to him. We're finished. We just want to give this back to him and we'll have a clean break. She opens her hand and a ring clatters onto the table. It was his grandmother's. Even after this, I don't have the heart to sell it off. But if I go back there myself, I know what will happen. Lose my temper and I'll probably wind up with another one of these. She points to her bruise. I wouldn't normally hand this off to the stranger, but people say if you've got a good heart. If you give this back to him, I'll know we're done. He'll know we're done. I'll take this ring to Pernisk then. Yeah. In a game like this, you have to find another messenger. Yeah, but we don't have this quest to do if I say no. The house is just north of here. Just please don't hurt him. As furious as I am, I don't want that on my conscience. Okay. No, there's no one here. Ah. Let's do some
A simple test. That's settled.
Bartender's ring. Spirit Bane, Vessel Bane, if you will. Okay. Well, this is quite handy when you're fighting against undead. Let's see. Yeah, she could use some willpower. Here it is. But wait. Yeah, another one of the daggers. So, merchant. Okay, we're gonna explore the inn a little bit more and then we're gonna well, quit this video for a moment. Oh, I can level up. Oh, sorry, let's do that first. Yep. Let's see. What does a paladin need? Athletics. Next. For an enemy. Charge. This one. It's the more area of effect kind of skill. Okay. There. Better at survival. And athletics. Alright, into the fray. Yeah, that's a quite nifty skill to have. And he wants to talk.
The dozens.
Shakes his head.
Pretty sure you won't find one among them who stood within 100 miles of that bridge when the Godhammer went off. Too bad, too. Then there'd be less of them.
Why do they call themselves the Dozens? Was 12 dear Woodens stood aside Helgot's citadel waiting for Waitwin to cross the bridge there. You had to hold him there long enough for the Godhammer to detonate, so that's what they did. Godhammer? That's what they call the bomb they blew up Waitwin with. Don't know much about it other than that. Anything kills a living god? Guess you gotta name it. What do you have against the Dozens? Ah, nothing serious. Nothing I don't have against a lot of folks anyway. The Dozens, they like to take things into their own hands. Gets ugly sometimes. We don't have them in the guild, Phil, but they be right at home here, there. It picked up that name so they could do what they wanted and feel like it was right, but nothing to do with honor or sacrifice. They like to invoke Margaret too, when they especially want to feel right. Somehow I don't think she'd be too impressed with that lot. Sure, she'd like to set them on fire anytime they use her name, but the gods probably got rules against that kind of thing. People hide behind symbols so they can't be questioned. The Duke, is a reasonable man. Maybe while we're in Defiance Bay we can get him to force people to call themselves what they are. Don't imagine they'd have as many members if they call themselves the loudmouth sheep fuckers. Let's continue on. Good idea. Yeah, a deer in Pillars of Eternity 2 is a riot to play with. Here he's a little bit more stoic. Hey. Oh, these fellows don't have much to...
Good day, stranger.
An Orlan man relaxes with his free feet propped on the table. Patches of dark brown skin peek out from under the full mane of blue-green hair. He and the Orlan woman with him exchange laughs and comments with the trio at a nearby table, and he spins a dagger in his hand. You look like you've seen a night or two in the wilds. Joining us for a drink? Who are all of you? The name's Two-Tone Wixel. The lady next to me is Key. We've had our fun with the expeditions, but we're hoping to enjoy a little peace and quiet. For the next few weeks anyway. Man at the next table who nods at you. I'm Dreadshot Deedon. This is Hurdy and Ilva. We're part of separate expedition teams, but we both suffered losses and decided to band together. Takes several items off his fingers. Beasts, barbarians, biowags. It's a dangerous time to be an adventurer, but a prosperous one too. Get a sip of water. At the next table, Dyden raises his glass, and here's to many more prosperous journeys. Is there something else you wanted? No, apparently not. Let's see. Okay.
I can do that. That's settled.
Oh, more lockpicks. Is there anything else here? No, that's not it. This room. No. That would be very stealthy. Alright. Okay. Let's save the game for now. And this is it for about now. Short session. If you like this type of content, hit the like and subscribe button. And I will see you in the next video.